Would you like to learn more about passive aggression defense mechanisms and 5 passive aggressive signs to look out for and overcome? Hey, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize The Man Method. And look, let me tell you a little bit, what is passive aggression? It's a type of behavior or personality characterized by indirect resistance to the demands of others and an avoidance of direct confrontation, as in procrastinating, pouting, displacing important materials. All right, so let's actually talk about it, right? Because oftentimes when we have a really hard time to set boundaries, what do we do instead? That's right, we are actually activating our passive aggressive mechanisms. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So sign number 1 is secretly punishing the man, okay, or the people, right? So how do you do that, right? Because we're talking about secretly punishing the man, right? And how you do that is through withdrawal, right? So it's like, it's not like you're not aggressive in that sense, right? You're not leading in, you're not inflating your energy, right? You're not confronting in that sense. But what you're doing instead is like you're holding back, you're punishing, you're withdrawing, right? And so now think about it this way, why are you doing this? Because you actually feel like the other person is punishing you and you don't know how to get your power back, right? You already gave your power to the other person. So what do? Right? You have to get it back somehow. And so how you're going to do that is by finding out what do they like, for example, if they like sex or affection or words of affirmation or quality time or acts of service or whatever it is, right? And then you're withholding that from them, right? Which of course is like the worst idea ever because it's super distrustful, right? And it really breaks sort of like this whole connection and intimacy that you have with your man, because also think about it, it's kind of like a deception. It's like you're pretending, right? You're like, you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't know. So it's almost like you have to lie to yourself to do that, right? Like to actually punish the other person. And also what's really important about that is, it's like to look out for is really this resentment towards men. So if you have this drive to want to punish men, and by the way, that was me all the time. I would delete phone numbers if they just called 5 minutes late, off of their head, right? Like the Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland, right? That was me, to the point that my friends were actually begging me and we're like, Antia, please don't break up again, don't edit again, right? But understanding, okay, I love to punish, but why was that, right? Because I had not forgiven men, right? For being masculine or for having all those male attributes inside of themselves that make them masculine, that make them a man, right? So what's important here is if you're falling into that category of punishing, it's really forgiving the masculine, forgiving the man. And oftentimes, interestingly enough, also forgiving the masculine inside of yourself. That's right. So now we're getting a little bit deeper. That goes into projection. So we're going to talk about it in another video. But in short, make sure you forgive the masculine side of yourself as well as forgiving the men in your life. All right. Sign number 2 is using sarcasm or backhanded compliments. No, don't do that. Because that's really sort of like the first insult. It's also like the first way towards abuse, right? It's like towards emotional abuse when you use that sarcasm. And again, what it does is it's extremely disrespectful, right? And so again, what happens is it's sort of backhanded, right? It's through the back door. And again, it's really conflicted, it's really distorted. And what happens is when you deliver a message in a distorted way, what happens is you get more distorted inside of yourself as well. So you're actually starting to sort of, let's say, justify your distortion, and you're almost believing that the distortion is real inside of yourself. So what happens in the long run is you will not be able to trust yourself. So what you want to do instead is actually be straightforward, and actually before you make a sarcastic comment, right, you actually got to be like really going out there and just really saying, you know, I don't like this. How you just did this, I don't approve of that. I don't think that's okay. And then what I want you to do is take a deep breath and feel that you are safe. Because that's the big thing. That's what you forgot about, is that feeling of being safe. That it's safe to speak up, that it's safe to have a conflict and to have other, you know, kind of like oppositional opinions. All right. Sign number 3 is showing up to lots of appointments late, right? So it's really interesting. Brody and I, we just watched this dating documentary. It's called Dating Around. And this one woman, she just like fashionably shows up late, nonchalantly, right? And again, extremely disrespectful, right? She's like, I don't respect your time, right? Like I show up when I want to show up, right? It's my way or the highway, right? It's my agenda, okay? So it's all about my agenda. I don't really care about your gender, your feelings. It's all about me. I'm putting myself first. And so again, not really great, right? Because what happens is, so for one, also don't forget, you are going to attract that into your life, because guess what? All the amazing, successful single women that I work with and that have those, let's say a little bit of a passive aggressive pattern towards men, guess what they tell me too? Oh, they attract men that ghost on them. They attract men that flake on them. They attract men that just drop off the earth, right? They attract men that disrespect them. I wonder why. Guess what? What you send out into the universe, that's what you get back. Perception is projection, or projection is perception. Whatever one you want to say, right? But what I'm saying here is truly about like, be really careful. You know, if you attract men into your life who are incongruent and out of alignment, ask yourself, where am I incongruent? Where am I out of alignment? What can I do instead? Can I call a man and just say ahead of time, hey, you know what? Today is just not a good day, or I thought our phone call didn't go as well as I thought, and I just have to talk about this first, versus punishing him and showing up late. It's just disrespectful, and it's also wasting your time too, right? And you're sending all those mixed signals, okay? Sign number 4 goes along with that. It's procrastinating on something you told him you are going to do, right? So it's just like, it's not that important, right? Because remember, I really don't think there's like procrastination. Dr. John DeMartini talks about that, right? There's no procrastination, but there's only a value system. So either what you want to do is in your value system, or it's not in your value system. And so what you're basically telling the man by procrastinating on doing something that you told him that you would do is like, I don't value you, right? And what happens is, you know, for one, you're not valuing yourself, because that's not self-value, right? Because you're not congruent, you're not in alignment, you're not connected to yourself, but instead, you are actually going to attract, again, those out of alignment men into your own life. And then you're coming to me, or you're watching all those videos and you're saying, why am I attracting all those emotionally unavailable men, right? Why those men don't get back to me? Why do they get back to me in the middle of the night instead of during the day? Why does it take them 3 or 4 or 5 days to get back to me instead of the next day? Well, those may be the reasons why. And sign number 5, speaking negatively about them behind their back. Okay, oh my God, like don't do that, okay? Because one thing that I always say, it's like, you know, if you were telling me something bad about somebody else, I would actually not think bad about them. I would think bad about you, right? Because I would be like, wow, why is she like, for one, why is she not telling him that to his face? And number 2, is she gonna talk about me behind my back, right? So people are actually starting to feel like this disloyalty. Like you're dating a guy and you're talking to him, you're dating him, but yet you're talking bad behind his back, right? And you're actually not talking like directly to him. You know, it's really interesting. Even when I was in high school, and I know we all have this like high school experiences, you know, she said, he said, this and that, right? But you know what? I always told the girls, you know, like, just tell me, you know what I mean? Like I can handle it. I can stand it. And when somebody would say something bad about another person, like, I wouldn't hide it. I wouldn't pretend. I wouldn't like hold out for the other person or be loyal to that person that told me that. Well, why is that? Because somewhere unconsciously inside of ourselves, we know it's not right. It's like, we know, dude, just be honest with the person, right? Okay. And so the biggest thing here is like, oh my gosh, and this is really, really huge, is actually like really saying, okay, if the other person would be here right now and could hear me, like, what would I say and what would I not say? Okay. And then the other piece is, always keep that in mind. How would I like to be treated? Would I like it when somebody else talks behind my back? Probably not, right? Because it creates a lot of distrust, it creates a lot of disconnection, and it creates a lot of anxiety, which a lot of women come to me with an anxious attachment style as well. So again, the trust is like out of the window. Now, what do you do instead? Well, I mean, you can go really extreme. Look, when I moved in with my husband, and I felt like, I kind of had lost a little bit of power. I'd given a power away, so to say. So I thought, quote unquote, okay, that I was like, I just want to like guilt trip him, right? I just want to kind of punish him, right? But I knew, I'm like, no, I can't do that, because I need to treat him the way I want to be treated. So how would I like to be treated? Well, I mean, I made this promise to have a deep, connected, long-term, and authentic and transparent relationship with men. So I said, well, I have to tell him, right? So I walked up to him and I said, look, I just have to tell you something. My ego actually just wanted to manipulate you, and it was, and then my husband was like laughing, and he said, how did it want to do that? I said, well, I wanted to guilt trip you. You left the dishes in the sink, and I know guilt tripping works really well with you, and so on, right? And so we had a good laugh. But from that point on, the relationship was so much stronger, and I trusted myself so much more because I knew that what I think, what I say, and what I do is in perfect alignment. And guess what? I drew that out of my husband. So he also told me things that he may have not told me, but he felt so much more trusting. And now we have the super, super like deep foundation of trust and integrity in our marriage. So look, this is it for today. If you really want to go deeper with me, then I invite you to join my quiz, magnetizeyourman.com. Hop on over there and grab your quiz right there and see what's missing in that equation for you, right? Like, what's that missing ingredient, that recipe of attracting that right man for you. So grab that quiz right there. Happy to help you on the other side. Take care, much love, and I will talk to you in the next video. Mwah!